What's up, you guys? Your girl Nia J. I got my beautiful co-host.
Pamela Nicole, what's going on, y'all?
Welcome to Dynasty Queens. So excited, you guys. Today we have a really special guest. We have the lovely Emerald Marie. Welcome to the Dynasty House.
Yes, please. Thank you for the introduction. So happy to be here. Thank you so much.
We're so happy to have you. So, Emerald, for those who are not familiar with who you are, let's go ahead and give them the rundown.
Yes.
So, tell us about yourself. Where are you from? How did you get your start?
Yes, for sure. So I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Long Island, New York, because people are always like, you're from the city. I'm from Long Island. Got to represent Suffolk County, New York. I moved to Los Angeles 4 years ago now, which is crazy. And when I got here, I was full-time journalism. That was everything that was my whole focus. But when I got here, I got signed as a Curve model, and that kind of took me on its own journey. So I'm a Curve model. I'm signed in London, Miami, New York, and Los Angeles. Prior to that, I'm a former Division I athlete. So that kind of, I always mention that because that's just the core of who I am. Sports has always been my motivating factor in my life, kind of made me a tough cookie in a way. And yeah, I just continue to come out here in Los Angeles, and my career continues to take these twists and turns the more I'm here and just I dive into the entertainment. But I would say mainly I'm definitely a media host, cover a lot of carpets, and a full-time Curve model as well. Content creator, influencer, those other things.
Love to hear it.
Yes. So go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your modeling career and like where you got your start and everything.
For sure. So, when I left college, I went back to New York and I was trying to figure out my modeling desires. My mom was a model. She was in Essence and Jet and a lot of, old school magazines back in the day. She used to fly to Bahamas and model. And, Black women in the industry, we're still very, with getting signed, it's very scarce. Like sometimes you have one or two on a board. So when I left college, I was really on the grind, but I was still a little discouraged because I wasn't seeing women that looked like me. And, which is crazy when you look around pop culture, you see us, you see our style being emulated, you see, how we contribute. And so I was getting frustrated when I was trying to get signed. But when I left college, my size was very I started to fill out as a woman, but I was skinnier then, but I also wasn't, it was like I was too small to be plus size, but I was too big to be street size, which is street size is like a size 240. And so I kept trying, and I actually was walking down the block in New York City, and I was stopped by a woman named Debbie Dickinson, for those watching or just in general, definitely look her up if you don't know who she is. But she is Janice Dickinson's sister. Janice Dickinson is from American Next Top Model. So me and my sister were walking, and it was crazy because we spent all day going to agencies, and this woman was screaming out of a cab, stop the car, ran across the street, walked up to my sister and I, and was to my sister, you need to be a runway model and you need to do commercial. She just immediately, and even that, my knowledge of knowing what type of models was in the thing. I didn't know the difference, but she was like, you have a very commercial look, right? So that kind of gave me my confidence. And what came out of that was really just a better understanding and knowledge of the industry, but I still hadn't gotten signed at that point. So it was encouraging, but it gave me putting me in the right direction, but that wasn't my start. So from then, I was hustling with journalism, and that's what propelled me to come to Los Angeles after I had a really big viral interview, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. And I kind of gave up on modeling. Honestly, I just was media is my life, right? And I had a neighbor in my building who was a model for, I want to say maybe a decade out here. She's stunning. Her name is Dana Cleaton. And she stopped me when I was taking my trash out because I had cut my hair off. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, I was wearing wigs and weaves and extensions. And she was like, girl, you need to submit like this. And I was like, girl, I've been trying, so they don't want me. I'm cool. I'll do the influencer thing. And she was like, no, this natural you, this you you're giving a different Emerald right now. And I was literally taking my trash out, and she was like, go upstairs. We're all Black. Come down and let's get you signed. And I'm sitting there still like, okay. And I did it, and she took pictures of me on the cell phone. And I want to say like 2 days later, I was just about to catch a flight, and I was in the airport. Like, I got time to kill. Submitted my photos, and by the time I fell asleep on the plane to go to my destination and woke up, LA Models was like, we would love to meet you. And I was like, what? And from there, that's when, I started getting signed to other agencies. And I think that's been like 3 years.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
So much.
Yes, girl. So because I'm also a model as well. So you hit home for me when you were talking about size, as far as, being too big or being too small. Because there was a point with me as well where it's like, oh, well, you don't really fit the mold. We're looking for, and this was back in like 04, 05, where it's just like they're looking for that super skinny 00, size 2, girl. What is some advice that you give to more curvier girls like us that want to get into the industry?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. And, I would say, and I hate to sound generic because I hear this a lot, but honestly, really be confident in you. There is a place for you. I will say the industry has changed a lot. We all remember watching America's Next Top Model to think that they thought someone like Takara was like huge. When today, I actually had met Takara, and I was standing next to her, and I'm like, seeing her in real time, I was like, we had the same type of, and it was like on TV, they made it seem like she was huge, you know what I mean? And I just think that our generation is embracing individuality more. We're embracing the things that make you different. And honestly, the things that make you different and things that you may think is your greatest insecurity may be the thing that gets you seen. For me, being a Black woman, my hair and wearing my natural hair was always an insecurity. I was quick to put a wig on and not feel comfortable. And who knew, like, cutting my hair and actually, and really, I changed my look a lot. Like, I used to wear thick lashes all the time and thick, long nails and a lot of weaves. And though that is beautiful in itself, I didn't realize how much it was covering up my beauty. And that same insecurity is what got me signed. I have 2 inches of hair, and it was like, they were like, you're cut in your face. And I was just like, wow, I thought the whole time when I was showing up with bangs and lashes that this was the look. But yeah, just to answer your question, I would tell women that, like, just embrace the scars, the curves. Those things are what is today making girls sought after.
It's really funny you say that, because I feel like in today's day and age, we really put an emphasis on appearance more so than ever before. Women are out there getting surgery and stuff like that. So I definitely think an advocate like yourself, who is really professing just being in your truthhood and who you are, you chopped the hair off, and it was kind of like a rebirth for Emerald. Right. So I think that's really beautiful. And I also think that's really cool how Janice Dickinson's sister just randomly saw you on the streets of New York. It almost seems like something out of a movie.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right. So once you actually got signed and everything, what was like the first big project that you had coming out the gate?
Oh, the first big project was definitely Naked Wardrobe. Naked Wardrobe booked me. They did a collab with Nordstrom's. So at first I did the Nordstrom collab, and when I went to the mall and did like a presentation, and then Naked Wardrobe brought me on, and I went in studio, and that was like the first, like, that I just felt like a little kid, because I was just like, this is my dream. It was just crazy. And we were there from sun up all day shooting look after look. And that was just so cool, even to see how the photos came out. And there was actually a photographer, Orion, who I loved since college. I would see him when I was in New York shooting girls, and he was a photographer on set that day. So I just had a fangirl moment even over him and his work. But yeah, to see that work and to see, like, girls started sending it to me because it was a campaign. So, when you get, like, the lookbook came out, right? And they had like their email chain and like it was on all socials. Girls were like ordering on Naked Wardrobe, and at checkout, they were seeing my images and people started screenshotting it. And that was like kind of crazy, because I just remember I had my list of dreams of brands, and they were on there for sure. And so to shoot for them and to be one of their first, like, curve models too. I think that's been the coolest thing about this journey is, in a weird way, you would feel like in 2024, why are we still hearing like the first Black woman and the first curve? But some of these brands, I'm like the first curve model they worked with. And I'm like, my body isn't the first body type like this. So it's still a weird like compliment, but you're also like, damn, we're just getting here. You know?
Just getting here in 2024. And it's funny because you mentioned like Takara. I remember I was like in high school when that season was out, and I never thought that girl was big. I was like, she's beautiful, curvaceous, you know, all the good stuff. But I think more so like the urban scene, that would have been, you know, much more acceptable. But for mainstream, they're just now jumping on the bandwagon.
Yes. It's funny because I just literally right before I hopped on with you guys, I was speaking to some designers, and curve models right now in the editorial high fashion, that is such a revolutionary thing that's happening right now. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but there's a model named Precious Lee. I love her. She's on my nightstand. She's a Black woman that she is doing just all the shows, like Sergio Hudson, Couture. She is just opening up in Milan and Paris. She is a thick, curvy girl from the South. And to see her on runways is so encouraging for me, but just for so many women, because typically if you were thicker, and Black girls and Black and brown, Hispanic Black girls, we've been thick. We've been had curves and things like that. And it's interesting being in Los Angeles where I'm seeing like girls get the work done to be shapely. And you're like, it's so wild because this wasn't embraced. And our community's been having a little extra to love. And it's like, they're acting like it's a new phenomenon. And I go to these designers and things, and I'm sitting at this table and they're looking at my photos and they're just like, oh, the curves and this. And I'm just like, this is so weird that, like, in a way that it's like so new to y'all. We've been into this
since Soul Train, okay.
Yeah, you know, but you know, it's just great to be a part of that change. And it's someone asked me too about like I get the celebration of diversity. I'm also at the core an athlete, and I think health is important too. So I think sometimes there's a debate of like, are we pushing like obesity, or are we pushing to be unhealthy? And I don't, and I think that's something, the reason I bring that up too, because I do think that's something to consider, right? Like definitely love the skin that you're in. I think health is important, you know, but someone can be very skinny and not be healthy and be exercising, working out as well. So I think it's important to know your body type and what works for you and be mindful of your health for sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I love how she brought up too, because I'm on the West Coast as well. So I'm in Vegas. So like just having the aesthetic, and me and Nia have talked about this, like having the aesthetic of like having the big boobs, the big ass, and getting all the surgeries done. You have to be like within yourself, you have to be comfortable with your decision. And I just see that like back to back to back, these girls don't have the mentality to match the body. So and that's definitely one of the big things, like when you see like curve models and, you know, girls like us that, you know, people embrace it because they see like, oh, well, she can own her own. You know what I mean? So it's coming around, and I'm glad that it is, you know.
I will say to your point too, and I love that you brought that up, like that's why the first thing I said, it was like confidence. Like you literally, my mom would always say to me, like, no, you're beautiful without a man or a mirror. And I stand on that because it's like this industry, if you don't know who you are, this industry will tell you who you need to become. So when I get young girls that reach out to me, sometimes I'm encouraging of it. Like, I don't think everyone should be a model. That's first and foremost, because so many girls will message me, and I'm really big on like this industry and this career path does make you, like, if you don't have confidence, and like I have my insecurities too, for sure. But if you don't have confidence, you could really be swayed. I've had to put my foot down. I've had to navigate uncomfortable situations. I've had to advocate for myself. And if you are young and you're just not, I have some newer models that will DM me about like contracts and things, and I'm reading them and I'm just like, girl, you need to like slow down and change. Like the desperation to want to make it has girls any and everything about themselves. And that's the part that I'm like, take a second and reevaluate why you want to do this. And also like, what guidance do you have in your life? Because it gets like that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool how you bring up the whole aspect of really making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, why are you entering the industry? So what would you tell another Black or brown girl that is entering the main stage? When I say the main stage, I mean, honey, she just got signed. She's looking around. It's not too many girls who look like her. What are just a few words of advice if she's feeling like, man, like, what am I doing here?
For sure.
What do you tell her?
I would say, number one, if you just got signed, understand the business. Contracts. My first contract I signed messed me up a little bit because I didn't understand. I thought I had an understanding of some wording, and I had to really find some mentors and some guidance, and I had to change some things. So understand the business and know that like you are your boss and your employee. Like you have to understand the business of modeling, understanding usage, agency fees, test shoots. Really spend time on YouTube and watch so many girls sit through and go through their journey of being signed and listen to the red flags of dealing with an agency, of dealing with photographers. And I would say the number one piece of advice, to be honest, is know your non-negotiables and know like what your standards are. When I moved to LA, kid you not, like I'm not even saying this figuratively, I really did this. I wrote like a letter to myself of just what my standards were, because I heard the stories of Los Angeles and industry. And I literally wrote myself a letter of what, I stood on and stood for, because I never wanted to be wavered by this industry and by, the shiny things. So I would say like, make your non-negotiables. Like if you don't want to ever shoot nudity, you don't want to shoot certain things or, alcohol or whatever things that you're just like, I stand on, like know your non-negotiables, know your standards and learn the business.
Yeah, beautifully said.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell us your transition. So we went from modeling to like primetime media now. So go ahead and tell us that transitional phase and like one of those pivotal moments for you when you transitioned to media.
For sure. And to be transparent, I actually started in media first, then modeling. But I will, of course, talk about media. So again, when I came home from school and I was trying to model and I was just getting a lot of no's, I was like, I really want to be on air, I want to be in front of the camera, but I had to reevaluate to what capacity. And I was getting tired of modeling only judging you for like looks. That I think media gave me a voice. And so when I came home, I had joined like this Girls Talk Sports TV. So I'm like, I'm fresh out of being a D1 student athlete. So I was like, talking about sports is in my lane. So from there, I started working on Real Talk, Real Fans in Brooklyn, New York, where that aired every Thursday. And we spoke about sports, and I was the only girl on set. And that team of guys really taught me so much. There was a videographer named Trip that really showed me a lot about media. That was at Brick Studios in Brooklyn. And then from there, I started continue to freelance. And I really sought mentorship. I would DM girls constantly. I would DM other TV hosts. Lindsay Christian was a on-air host at the time in New Jersey. And I just was like trying to get an internship. And it was really hard because I had graduated college and I didn't major in journalism. Once I set my major, it was hard to kind of change that, and then hard to get internships because I was an athlete. And so I always say like I created my own internship in a way. Girl, I started to go to Fashion Week. This is really what did it. I went to Fashion Week. I would stand outside. I got a recorder because I couldn't afford a mic at the time. Had my homie record me, and I would interview every person I walked out the building. And what happened was E! News was inside, and I didn't know this. They were inside on the other side of the door. So when people came out, they thought I was an extension of E! News, which is crazy. I ended up finding that out later. And so I was interviewing people and made a whole video, and I just started to continue to, I took that video. Then I had something to show for myself. Instead of just saying I want to be a host, I had to just be right. And then I started to send that out to people. And, long and short of it, I ended up getting like, hey, we have a reporter that couldn't make this event. Could you step in? And that's how I started. And then the carpet started building up. And then I had my Halle Berry moment that changed the game for me and, gave me a lot of exposure. And then from there, that's where I am now. I still get, asked to cover certain things in interview.
Right. It is the hard work and dedication to me. It is the passion for the craft for me. It's the standing outside interviewing people for me, and I can relate to you so well. I'm sure, Pam, you feel the same way because, we do both. We model. I actually went to school for broadcast journalism and now we have a podcast. So it definitely gives you a voice behind the pretty face.
Yeah.
But you have to let us know, how was that encounter with Miss Halle Berry? Like, how did you feel when you found out you had it locked in? And how was she as a person? Was she cool?
Is amazing. Like, it's crazy because this interview happened in 2019 and it's 2024 and I still speak to her. Like, I spoke to her not too long ago and it still gives me goosebumps that I'm like, I could really hit up Halle like, hey girl, like, and we be talking about, like, we talk about career stuff, but she be giving me advice about like men, and I just feel like this is crazy. Like, I be talking to her so personally, so it's really cool. But yeah, no, that moment, I had basically been booked to cover John Wick 3 that evening, and went to the carpet, and basically the incident really was like they kept skipping Black journalists, and I didn't realize what Black journalists go through in the industry at the time. And, for me, like, I was so new and I was a freelancer. So I think, sometimes when you work for a network, you don't feel as emboldened to speak up. So when I was kind of like, well, I don't got nothing to lose. Like, I don't work for nobody. I'm just trying to get in the door. But I was noticing stuff from like fresh eye in. And so I had noticed, she was walking on the carpet, stopping at everyone to interview. And it's the PR and publicists that work the events. I don't even know if it was necessarily her publicist, but they're the ones that stop and dictate who speaks to who. And oftentimes on the red carpet, a lot of Black media is pushed to the end, to the side, they're last. And you'll be shocked to know, like, Essence and Ebony Magazine and Hollywood Unlocked, people who are the pulse of the culture are being pushed to the side. But the white journalists, are being pushed to the top because they're considered mainstream. Mm-hmm. And so when her people were stopping and everyone, they skipped over myself and another Black journalist. And it was the most obvious skip. That's why it became such a thing. And my videographer happened to be rolling. So we caught the whole moment and then she came back. But I will say, I just remember just feeling like goosebumps. Not only that she came back and that she seen me, but what ended up happening after that, the way it just unfolded in mainstream media, and it was already a conversation and movement about Black women and men not being heard, but it was like I had amplified this already conversation, and to be so new and have the impact was really like surreal.
Man, that must have been so amazing. The humility in her as well to actually come back, like she actually had some heart behind it. So
for sure. It was crazy.
Hey guys, it's Pamela Nicole from Dynasty Queens, and I'm here today to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, socialmediablaststop.net. If you're out here as an entrepreneur, an artist, a model, you name it, and you're trying to get your business off the ground, they got you covered. Whether you're on social media platforms such as Instagram, X, Facebook, or if you're an artist, if you're on wanting to get on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music, socialmediablaststop.net has you covered. Since you're new to the game, go ahead and save 30% on your purchase with socialmediablaststop.net and get your business going. Go ahead and scan that QR code right down here and got you all set. So do you feel like now, looking back from 2019 to now 2024, do you feel like it has gotten easier for Black journalists, or do you still feel like it's like still a big struggle that you can advocate for?
I think I will say it's gotten easier, and here's why. I think social media, prior to the pandemic, these platforms weren't what they are now. The amount of podcasts and shows and syndications and things that happen post-COVID, we're now in a generation where you can do what you guys are doing. You can create your own platform, create your own logo, and have full control of this, right? You didn't need permission today to do this with me. You guys did it on your own. And so women are more emboldened to create their platform, and there's no limitations. You can put it out and people can see it. And so I do think there's less barriers sometimes breaking, but I will say we are experiencing like extreme cancel culture, and like, now things are being amplified, things are being recorded, and what that moment showed me was like a viral moment of what that looked like. So I do think, shortly after the carpet, I got flooded with DMs from so many journalists. To this day, journalists from TMZ actually messaged me and was like, I'll never forget like your imprint in all of this. And I was like, wow, it's been years. But yeah, even to this day, a journalist told me shortly after my incident with Halle that I think she was at like the Men in Black 2 or whatever movie. And I forget what celebrity was walking by, but I guess it was right after the whole don't skip black women, black men, that they like started to go, and they were like, oh, we just have to go right here. And they were like, we're not skipping you. Don't worry. We're not skipping you. So like, I do think they're kind of hypersensitive on the topic. And people like Jason Lee, who's always had my back from Hollywood Unlocked, he's a big advocate on this topic as well. So I just think that it's harder to ignore us. Like, we are being seen by our own efforts, but then also I think people are kind of calling out these things more. So it makes it harder to kind of let it slide.
You know what? And that is perfectly okay with me. They should be ultra sensitive, hypersensitive on the red carpet, in the restaurant, any public place, anywhere where we have never been seen like we're being seen now.
Yeah.
We shouldn't apologize, because guess what? We were the ones that were put through suffering that we didn't have to go through. There have been so many wonderful Black women who paved the way in journalism. And I just feel like with this modern day and age, you are definitely at the forefront of, you know, who is who right now, and who is definitely an advocate, a leader, and a role model for the girls coming up.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, for sure.
That's perfect said. Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Pam?
I mean, like everything she's been saying, she's spot on. She knows who she is. And that's really the forefront of everything, like knowing who you are and standing for what you know is right and believe in and everything. So you've really just summarized that up for us and our viewers, like just
so much,
keep going.
Yeah. So. And I think too, it's like our generation is so heavy on like influencer culture. And I think that's why I'm an advocate on like kind of trying to know yourself, because every day we're scrolling on these apps where we're comparing ourselves to one another, shape, sizes, even with dating, right? There's like an illusion of options online. And I think it's just easy for women to just see the, smoke and mirrors of it all. And, prior to moving to Los Angeles, like I used to see these same influencers when I was back in New York. And now being out and running into them in public, you start to realize the smoke and mirrors of people's lifestyle and like what you thought it was and what it ain't. And it's like, who's funding what for them? It makes you have grace with yourself and be like, oh, you're working yourself in a gym to look like this. And Shorty had 10 surgeries to look like that. These women don't look like themselves. And like, there's no shade to work. Like, I'm all about being empowered. You want to change something about yourself? Do your big one. But I'm just saying that the transparency in it all, I couldn't imagine being a young lady right now in high school. Like, it wasn't this bad when we were.
Right. Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And, I'm in Atlanta. So trust me, girl, when you say I know when you're talking about times 100, you know what I mean? So it's just really crazy out here. And I think when we were talking about earlier, really learning positive body imaging and stuff at a young age is just so crucial and so important, because like you said, with social media and everything that's happening now, man, the girls are maturing much faster even than, our time coming up. It's just really a crazy world that we live in. So I feel that we definitely need more positive Black female or female in general role models that can show something, because you have so much diversity and you're so well-rounded on the athletics, the modeling, the journalism. So, I got a question leading up to all that, right? Okay. We're going to go to modeling first. Who is your number one influence model of all time, and athlete, and also journalist?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, my favorite model of all time, I want to say my mama, but besides my mom, I will say, ooh, I love, right now, I'm just so Preciously. I love Preciously.
Preciously.
I've just never seen a model like her in the spaces that I do. You know, she's like a naturally well endowed woman, and I am well endowed as well. And she just gives me a lot of hope. So I definitely would say Preciously. Um, Athlete of all time is a crazy question.
And we can do male and female to be fair.
Yeah, that helps me. Okay. So I would say my favorite, since I was younger, Derrick Rose is one of my favorite NBA players. And and half Allen Iverson. And then for women, I will say Candace Parker. That's my girl.
Yes.
Awesome.
Parker,
Yes.
for sure. And journalists.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, this is so generic because it's like Oprah is the queen. And I love her story. And she's just so much resilience. I will say Oprah. Yeah, I love Oprah. I feel like I love Oprah because anyone that sits with her is like, she's just known for getting you, she can get anyone to talk and open up. And that's such a skill, you know, and that's such a skill. And I think, and I'll say Oprah, and you know who else is like that in our time now? Because I think Oprah is kind of more of the different era. Yeah. Taylor Rooks. Like, I think that she's another one that really causes people to, like, for some reason when they're with her, they can open up and say more than they, you know, it's not surface level. So I know I gave you a lot of doubles with those answers, but there's so many people.
Okay. Right. Those are the people that influenced you, so it's okay, you know.
Yeah. Now, I want to add on to that, Nia. I want to add on, who would you say out of like influencers influences you? What influencer influences you?
Oh, what influencer? Ooh, I would say Kami. Kami is a beautiful influencer who is very well diverse, and she is a model, she is a host, and she does a podcast about love. But I feel like Kami is someone that she kind of reminds me of myself, and she empowers me because I used to feel that I was all over the place with all my endeavors. And it's like, for some reason, when I see her life play out, and I followed her for a long time, it's like it all is relative what she does, but she's pushed the boundaries in so many different areas. And I just always constantly see her jumping into new industries. And Kami's amazing.
For sure.
Yes.
Man. So we are almost halfway through 2024. I cannot believe how crazy this year is flying by. Like, I know that's off topic, y'all, but for real. So you have to let us know, like, what do you have going on this year? Give us a rundown. I know you have some major stuff coming up. What kind of red carpets are in the near future? Any really cool interviews you have coming up?
Yeah, no, this year started off pretty crazy. So at the top of the year, I met Riri, bad girl Riri. Okay. So I've been working with Fenty a lot. They've been sending me a lot of products, and I met Rihanna, and just kind of, hopefully we have some campaigns in the works. When I met Rihanna, which the rumors are true, she smells so good. That's always what people say is, what does she smell like? But yeah, I am hopefully we'll be working with Fenty with a campaign this year. When I spoke to Rihanna in person, she was definitely like, I want you for it. And so just in the back end, just sorting that out and just kind of circling back to that conversation. So hopefully continue to work with Fenty. I've been working with YSL also, just more influencer. I've been really in my partnership and influencer bag lately. A lot of brands have been reaching out, and I've been more aggressive with that. So shout out to Creator Deck. They've been awesome. So just a lot more partnerships you guys will be seeing on my timeline, a lot more beauty brands. Right now, my agents are having me do a lot more editorial looks. So beauty work and editorial is something that I'm definitely going to be like more aggressive about. As far as red carpets, I just was speaking about this yesterday. Impact Awards, I did it for the first time last year. The award show is coming back bigger and better this year in Los Angeles. I don't know if I can say who's performing, but there's some big people performing and being honored. And so I will be covering that award show. BET weekend, I'll be out this year too. I didn't really do it last year. And I may be doing the ESPY Awards. And that's new for me too, because I've actually never done the ESPY Awards and I've always wanted to. And so this year I'm just trying to venture off a little bit more, because sometimes you can get pigeonholed when you start doing entertainment so much, that I want to make sure that I'm doing sports and I'm diversifying what I'm covering.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, those are my focuses. I started shooting The Green Room with Emerald Marie. Slowly just did some episodes that haven't been released yet. So it's not going to be a show that I do like weekly. It's going to be kind of here and there, trying to manage my life. But yeah, those are some things I'm working on. And I would say lastly, my apparel line. I am a Black girl from the burbs, and I've been working on a From the Burbs, collection. And I actually made some samples I was wearing around LA, and two of my favorite celebs actually stopped me when I had the shirt on at an event and was like, "Where do you get that from?" And so that gave me some encouragement. So I have some things coming out for sure with my apparel.
I want to see this clothing line, honey. I think, Pam, we need to be in that clothing line, right?
For that.
Rock Emerald fit. We can be swaggalicious like Miss Emerald over here.
Yes. I will have some PR packages, okay?
Let's get her stuff in Atlanta, get one in New York City. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. We love the positive female energy and vibes on Dynasty Queens. So, man, really good stuff. Pamela.
My love.
Pamela. So I was thinking a while ago when Emerald was mentioning, just like being curvaceous and really just embodying who you are as a female. Yeah. I wanted to ask Emerald. Mm-hmm. Emerald, who is someone that you've met since you've been in LA, who you may have admired or, and they were, besides Halle Berry, right? They were really true to who they are, and they left an impact on you. Who is that person? And you may have been caught off guard because they may have a different type of reputation in the public. We may think, this person is a different type of way, but they were really, embracing and welcoming of you.
Ooh, honestly, does it matter if it's like a male or female?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Honestly, this is probably so random to people, but most people know that he's like one of my close friends that I've seen from afar. And now it's weird that we're like, it's my guy. Michael Blackson. I have to say him.
Really?
And the reason, right, is because Michael has like a very interesting, I think, reputation, right? He's a funny African man from, Ghana and Philadelphia, but he has like what made me think of him is because you said others may view as one way. Michael is like the most gracious, selfless, kindest, like sweetest man. And I think online, because of all his antics, he's always got some women jumping around, being happy and twerking and being crazy. I think people don't even realize how caring he is. Like, he is the type of friend that really give you like the shirt off his back. And he's very caring and very just like has done so much for people that I've gotten the opportunity to see up close. He just built a school in Ghana and he uses his funds, and like he's so bad at even asking other people and resources for help with building the school for these kids. And I'm just so like, we've became friends, and he really embraced me. And I think he's seen my heart and I've seen his heart. But, even just being a woman in this industry where guys can be really wild. I mean, y'all see all the mess that's going down. It's someone from the opposite sex who's been so respectful and like supportive. So I would say him, because I actually have like a close relationship with him. But there's been other people that I've encountered that I was just, oh, wow, they're pleasantly nice, but it wasn't as close as like what this has become.
Right. And I'm sure that is simply a persona that, he has to portray, you guys. He's a comedian. So, we got a clarification. Michael Blackson is cool,
Yeah, he's sweet. He's so fun. Yeah.
He's really funny though. I really like his comedy. He's pretty cool.
He's crazy.
So, Emerald, what are some brands that you would love to work with in the future?
Ooh, I would love to work with Skims. I was on hold for them before, and I didn't make it all the way. And the reason I do love their marketing. I feel like their shoots are they're so cool. Like they're just not regular shoots. Like I will say, Kim. People can say what they want. She's a marketing genius. You know, I would love to shoot with them. Yeezy dropped amazing, like the wet shirts. I don't know if you guys seen that. I seen some girls did marketing with that. I feel like those Yeezy brands, ironically, you know, Kim and Kanye, not because of the relation of that, but separately, I think what they do and their style is amazing. I will say Fenty for sure. Yeah, those are probably the top three.
I was gonna say, I like just upon just looking at you, I'm like, she would be great for Chloe's brand, Good American. Like the jeans,
yes.
you are Good American.
I was a part of their worldwide search. I made it really far, but they didn't. I was very close. I have a video actually on my page about that, and it was really close. This was years ago, but Good American, call me back.
Right. Just gonna put it on the atmosphere, you know. She's waiting, you guys.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, another question. So I know that you said you did the chop. I love your hairstyle, by the way. Do you ever play with different looks from time to time? I mean, I love the short style on you.
Thank you. You know, it's funny you say that because I'm going to do some looks coming up. You know, I was loving my shortcut, but I like to do finger waves, and sometimes it gets a little hard with like how much I can really do with my shortcut. So I've been recently reaching out to a lot of hair brands, and someone just sent me Bree's hair brand just sent me 24 inches, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Because I've been so short, but I'm going to play with hair. I literally am gonna play with some length. I just touched base with this hairstylist that's going to do some like braiding crowns. So we're going to step into the editorial bag and start doing and showing the versatility. I'm definitely not like against wigs and weaves. Like I think that's a part of it, but I'm happy that I found like my core look, and now it's like she can do it all. You know, she can.
Yes.
So.
But that little pixie cut, it just suits you so well. Like everybody can't pull it off, but it's just really, it's doing its big one.
Thank you. When I cut it, Holly was the first person I sent a picture to, and I was like, "She's giving boomerang," and she was like, "Yes, girl." I was like,
right. I just love how y'all have that relationship, but that is so cool. Like, you know what? Halle Berry, look, she is in, the scroll list on my phone over here.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so thankful.
She's getting like the courage to go back to my pixie, because I did a big chop myself.
Did you?
I cut 33 inches, all blonde, cut it off, and I rocked the pixie for 3 years, and I was like, let's see if I can grow it out, but girl, you were given. So it's about to be hot as you know what here in Vegas. So it's about time the wigs need to be retired for a little bit. We need to go for the summer.
Right, for sure. And it gets hot out here in Atlanta too, but look curly. I just have my little braids that took out, but we're gonna play with it. I just think as Black women, it's so cool that we can be versatile. Yeah. We can decide what we want to do with our hair, and just have fun and embrace who we are. So
I love it. I love that we can mix it up, and just we are the the creators of all the fly shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Period. You have to let them know. So I have another really impactful question for you before we wrap. So Emerald, for people that really don't know you, or someone is talking about you in the room, what are a few words, just a few short words to just simplify who you are in a nutshell?
Ooh, that is an impactful question. I would say bold, and I would say you're not afraid to disrupt the status quo. I really, if something happens, I want to prove that I can do it, or we can give you a different perspective on that. So I would say a disruptor, in the best way.
Shaking the table a little bit, y'all. Shaking the table. Nothing wrong with
and just anything that seems impossible. Like I want to prove to you that like it's possible no matter who you are. Like I'm gonna find a way. There's a will, there's a way. So I would say like a disruptor. I would say bold. Even though I have those fears sometimes, like for the most part, I try to be fearless in my endeavors and in my life. So, purposeful. Those would be the words I would describe myself.
I love that. I love that.
I do need to say this whole gray scheme that we accidentally did.
We did.
Right. Okay. With a little pin of pink on me, and then Pam is just rounding us out with the all gray. My intelligent, beautiful girl group.
No, you look like you're one of them groups. SWB.
Okay. And then Pam has she has the snapback backwards. Okay. It's giving 90s. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
So, Emerald, real quick, if you don't mind, for all of our viewers, if you can go ahead and plug in your socials and let everybody know where they can find you.
For sure. And thank you guys again so much for having me. On Instagram, it is Emerald Marie. On YouTube, it is emerald.marie. And on TikTok, it's Emerald Marie TV. So just Emerald Marie, everything.
All right. You want to close us out, Pamela?
Yeah, absolutely. Emerald, thank you once again, hon. It's been an absolute pleasure just getting to chat with you, giving us some insight on, how well-rounded you can be. Like, not just as a Black woman, but just as a woman, you can you can do all. So just thank you so much once again for joining us.
For sure.
Yes, ma'am. And in closing, I am Pamela Nicole, and I've got my beautiful best friend,
Nia J.
And stay tuned. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Make sure you share, let all your friends and family see. And until next time, this is Dynasty Queens. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.